You ready? We are good.
Ready, set. Call to order the Parks and Recreation regular meeting for January 21st to order. The first item on our agenda is public input. Anyone from the public wishing to come up, please do so. Just tell us your name and where you're from.
My name is Jerry Mush. I'm from 10229 Sutton Place. Great, just jump right into it.
Yeah.
So thank you, board, for the opportunity to speak, and thank you, director, for providing the two proposals for adding pickleball to the Cobblestones Park. I shared the proposals with members of our subdivision, and we are excited about the first proposal of adding 6 courts. I acknowledge that now with Pop Warner using Cobblestone Park instead of Frank Hammond, parking can spill over to the street during their practice times. However, I would be disappointed to see loss of pickleball courts because of the challenging parking situation during the fall while Pop Warner is using the park. That's all I have to add. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like you to identify yourself.
I will, Roland Raff in 10230 Windsor Place. I, President of Cobblestone Homeowners Association, saw the proposal of the pickleball courts. I think 6 courts would be a wonderful amenity, not only for town, but also for the subdivision. I've been on the planning commission in Munster probably for almost 20 years. I think it's a good idea when we look at amenities and different things throughout the town that we also look at planning, right? Parking, all that kinds of logistics. We had the football team and lacrosse team that practiced in Cobblestone Park. It's wonderful to see the kids out there. Actually, it's a great sight seeing kids practicing, having fun. I just think we need to come up with the right planning on parking. We should really look at Treadway, making it maybe parking on one side of the street and not both. When it gets really busy at times, it's very, very hard to get down that street. It becomes a one-lane street. I live right there at Windsor Treadway, so even pulling out on my driveway, it's tough. I navigate it well, but I also have teenage drivers that, you know, I don't want to see a kid get hit. So something we need to look at. I know we talked to Chuck with it before, but I think we should look at kind of limiting that parking almost like we did, I think, on Grove where my kids played soccer all those years, right? It's on one side, not the other. So it might be a good plan to consider that while we're looking at adding a certain. So thank you everyone for your time.
Can we add parking on the side of Cobblestone? Would you, I mean, you got planning commission experience.
Can we add parking?
Would you like to see that as the?
I don't know where you would add it, because you had the baseball field at the one side, you got the soccer field at the other. How would you get interior parking down there without like having your curb cut one-sided, you know? Just the way it's kind of laid out, it's,
Because people don't always read signs.
no, you don't, because I'm probably one of them
Yeah.
as well. But yeah, it's something to consider. We should look at it and see what the best is for. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing no one else, next item is the approval of the minutes for December 17th, 2024. Everyone read them, I'm sure, over the holiday.
I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Straightforward.
Alrighty. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Next item are the approval of the vouchers. We have 3 of them. Didn't see any issues.
I'll move to approve the vouchers.
I just have one question.
Okay.
Got it.
On the second voucher on 1B, if a class gets canceled or a program gets canceled, can we put in there what it is that's canceled? Because we don't know. We just see that there's a refund given to people. We don't know what program or class is canceled.
Yeah, and on the software that the clerk treasurer's office uses, they're limited on how much space can be
I
put in
see.
there. Typically, a lot of them are, like, you might see a lot of refunds and it's all from one particular class that all comes out of, especially if the dollar amounts are the exact
Right.
same, but, yeah, it's hard to do
What
that. I
happens
don't
is
know.
when you put in the check request, we do all the refunds inactive in the registration software, and then I go in the accounting software and issue the check request. There's a drop down menu to pick from, and it's, you know, like medical or schedule conflict, and one of them is cancellation. So you just click that and
And it doesn't.
it's standard.
Okay. And we have that a lot in schools too. Just be nice to know that we didn't have enough people for something.
Yeah. I mean, that could be something that could be included in the board report.
Yeah, I
too.
mean, we get them, I mean, it's routine, I mean, and it's across, and it's not just here with Munster, it's across the industry where obviously you put out all
Yep.
kinds of offerings.
Yep.
And you never know the details about whether it's the bad day of the week, the bad time of day, the bad location, you know, what, the same night as something else that the participants would consider. So there's always things that are canceled. A lot of our cancellations, we actually try to offer as a department credit, leave it on their account. These are actually where, when you see them on this list, this is actually when checks are being cut back to you. A lot of times on these, probably the most frequent one is trips, that if we don't hit a maximum to fill the bus, we're losing money if we run it, you know, without, so that's a lot of probably our most popular one where we have refunds that are due to class cancellations, where, cash is actually being sent back, or a check is being sent back to the customer because it's someone who probably doesn't do a lot with us. If it's a regular household in town, most of them will happily take the credit and they'll reuse it next time they sign up for the next program. Or even like with our teenagers, a lot of teenagers will, they have lots of supplies and next year's membership.
Mark, question on that is, do we have software or any other process in place that get feedback from people who do cancel or have participated and completed a program? Like, hey, why did you cancel, or give us some feedback?
Well, typically, we don't get the feedback from them for canceling. It's typically when we cancel, where we don't have enough. So, unfortunately, the feedback from them, they're the ones who's willing to sign up and take the class. We need the feedback from other people. Why didn't they take the class? Why didn't they sign up for it? And we really don't have anything from that perspective. Once in a great while, you'll get someone who says, oh, yeah, it's just the wrong day of the week for me, or if you could offer that on Friday nights, I could make it, but I can't make Tuesday, whatever. You'll get that, but that's real rare. You know, typically they'll come in, what we'll get a lot of is when people do sign up, they'll say, hey, I'd like to see this again, you know, hopefully do a follow-up class to it, or offer it again, or even trips, suggestions for other destinations, things like that.
He's good.
All right, we're still looking for a motion for the vouchers here.
A motion to approve the vouchers.
I'll second.
Motion is seconded. Any other further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. And those opposed, ayes have it. We'll go to reports, town council liaison report. Councilman Gardner it appears as though you are our new liaison for this year.
That's what I found out in our first council meeting of this year, yes. And I have
The short
no,
straw.
I have no huge report. I did see a voucher for Eland Financial in there. That was a credit card voucher. We are changing the credit card procedure around due to some problems that staff had with that. So nothing big, but that was approved last time at the council meeting. So there'd be a new procurement card issued to staff.
Okay.
But that's all.
I don't know if Jose Gutierrez is our new appointment, or your new appointment,
Or should that be a liaison appointment?
I don't
consider that.
know.
I guess at our first council meeting this year, we did appoint Jose Gutierrez as our new park board member. We did, there were some nice things said about Mike Sowards. Mike was a park board member for 8 years, did a nice job on the park board, but we are looking forward to Jose, and he was appointed at the first council meeting of this year. So welcome aboard, Jose.
Excited to be here. Appreciate it.
And Wendy, did you swear him in and everything?
Yes, he's all sworn in.
Perfect, okay.
I was.
Better be sworn in than sworn in.
With that, my sentence of 1 year of being president is almost over with, so the item for next discussion is election of park board officers. I am not nominating myself.
I would like to nominate Scott
Second.
for president.
Oh. Second, technically.
I'll second it.
All right, motion seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, Scott.
Oh, thanks. No one opposed?
I wouldn't let them. So you're it.
You're it.
Congratulations.
To take
Thanks.
the reins.
All right.
So before we move on, we also then, Scott, we're looking for a vice, and then
Oh.
I would also ask you, to, as you've done the last few years, appoint Janice as the official recording secretary of the board.
Okay.
Just to make it a lot easier when she's in the office every day, there's a lot of things that she can sign rather than having one of you guys come in here, so.
So what's Robin by Chris?
No.
That's what I say.
I don't know how that works. Jose. There you go.
Yeah, Mike would have been vice president. so who's
All right, there you go. I will make that nomination. Jose would be vice president.
I'll second.
Yeah.
Or I will
You
second.
can't second anymore.
Can't second.
Oh,
You
yeah.
gotta stay quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot.
I second it.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
I would also
There you
like to
go.
say.
you get leadership position.
One day, look where you're at. I would also like to nominate Janice. I can't.
Oh, that.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
nominate Janice. I thought that was probably the same motion, but that's fine.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Janice.
Extra stipend in your pay, I'm sure. Oh, yeah, well.
Okay, that brings us to our 2024 Parks and Recreation annual report, Mark.
Yes, so this month, we always do an annual report rather than our board report, so I just go through and highlight, some of the things that we do to prepare, kind of a year. I like to call it a year in review, because it's not a traditional annual report. We share a little bit of some finances in there, but, kind of more of a snapshot on what happened in the last year, and then we talked about some goals for this coming, for this new year. But, last year we did, remain the same as far as our staff. In 2024, we did fill a vacant maintainer 2 position. That was filled in April when Anthony McBosco came on board. As far as staff, Jill renewed her, professional certification for certified park and recreation professional certification this last year. We employed 150 part-time employees in 2024. That included lifeguards, and staff at the pool, park maintenance assistants, program leaders, referees, social center supervisors, and many others. So, kind of get a snapshot of what we do within the department. On the maintenance side of things, they did spend a lot of time catching up on deferred maintenance. If you remember from the year before, for those of you who weren't here, we had a lot of lost time due to, injuries, due to, funeral leave in the year before, and, that allowed us kind of to catch up on some things that were, kicked off a year from 2 years ago. So we were able to do some catching up on that stuff besides the normal day-to-day, trash pickup, washroom cleaning, all the normal social center setup things that are normal day-to-day operations for the maintenance side of our department. So, and we are looking forward to this coming year. We have 2 full-time, additional full-time maintenance employees that the council put into the budget. So we'll have, 2 vacancies to fill here pretty soon that we'll be bringing forward to, let you be aware of that. Summary on our board accomplishments. We approved obviously last year's annual report. We have some replacement vehicles. We replaced 12 batting cage nets over at Community Park, new windows and doors on the social center, engaged SEH to complete the grading plan out at Community Estates Park, approved the utility vehicle for the golf course and the 2023 fertilization contractor, for parks. We awarded improvements to the White Oak Park pickleball courts to get resurfaced. We approved the repaving of the track at Frank Hammond Park, adopted the 2025 to 2029 Parks and Recreation Master Plan, researched and considered the request to extend the pool season by opening on weekends after school was back in session, but declined after learning that cost was proved to be significant for us. Supported the updated park shelter user agreement. We approved the resolution to change the name of the social center to the Munster Lions Club Social Center. Approved the purchase and installation of new playgrounds at Briar Creek Park and Cobblestones Park, which is coming soon. They've been delivered. We have them on location at our garage at Fisher Street. As soon as the weather breaks, they'll be coming to do the installation. Approved of changes to the residents for Centennial Park vehicle registration, from 2 to 4 vehicles per household. So those are all kind of some of the highlights from the board perspective. We had a budget last year of just over $3.2 million. We expended 2.7, so we're pretty efficient with our funds, 84% of what was, our budget was expended. I think the clerk's office always likes to hear those things when we're not spending at that 100% level. The 2370 fund is also a non-reverting fund, that we have access to. This is and not included in those figures that I just mentioned, but that fund, we brought in 162,000 and change, as far as revenue, and expended out about 157. That's $1,000. That's basically a lot of sponsorships. Our largest one in there is Munster Civic Foundation that helps fund a lot of our concerts and things like that. So a lot of our any kind of donation and things like that go into the 2370 fund. And then we have our parking fund, which started a couple of years ago. We budgeted that out at 171,000 last year and had expenses of 112 and change, and we brought in a little over $190,000 in that total revenue. So as far as our parks and facilities, we concluded a 2-year program at the social center with the doors and windows. Additionally, we did a lot of other improvements there. We added a commercial fridge, freezer, warmer, and oven, brought those over from the clubhouse. With the help of the Munster Lions, some cabinets and counters were moved. We also added new blinds, paper towel holders, light fixtures, card tables, banquet tables, and tuck point at the building. So a lot of work went into bringing the social center, the now Munster Lions Social Center, into kind of updated for many years to come. The vehicle replacement schedule updated, added a new Z-Track mower and some mowers out of the golf course, utility vehicles, 4 new pickup trucks as all part of that replacement schedule. We had donations out at Centennial Park of 2 memorial bricks. We had 10 memorial trees and 2 memorial benches in the park system. The accessibility improvements were made to the pedestrian bridge approaches at Briar Creek Park. The fencing was replaced at Centennial Park's maintenance yard, that gained a little bit of space, it was a corner of between cobblestones and the maintenance park that we squared off better and allowed us to grab a little bit more space for the yard, and has been helpful as they've been replacing the generator, here this month out there. The walking path at Borough Village was seal coated, the track at Frank Hammonds repaved and striped, the pergola at Monon Trailhead was repaired, repainted. The stage swivel panels and the exposed rafter tails were stained. The maintenance shops were both cleaned and brought into MS4 compliance. That was a big thing for the town last year. The picnic tables at all of our shelters were bolted down to ensure that we have the advertised seating capacity at every one of the shelters. So a lot of times they get moved. This will probably stop that from occurring in a lot of those parks, to make sure that we have the correct capacity there. The Togetherness sculpture, the green one out of Centennial Park, was shell blasted and repainted last year. Drainage out at the dog park was completed at Centennial Park. Everything in the clubhouse was drained out before this last winter season to avoid any lines freezing. There was drainage installed over the Babe Ruth fields. We had a bus repair station and a historical train marker kiosk along the Pennsy Freeway at Centennial Park installed. And I mentioned earlier, the pickleball courts over at White Oak were refinished. On the parking facilities, our rentals for the year, we had 358 rentals, which was a 13% increase over 2023. The biggest 2 of those was 137 at the social center and 108 park shelter rentals. The community pool had 19,198 visits in 2024, which was up 14% from the prior year. There were 983 season pool passes sold, which was up 17% over the year before. The biggest challenge for the operating facility is having an adequate number of pool staff. There are always times when pool staff has to be paid overtime to keep the facility open, or when other staff falls off or just doesn't show up. 61 saves and rescues that lifeguards had to perform, which was actually a better from the year before. It decreased by 20% from the prior year. We had capital improvements out there, including gel coating the slides, repairing the large deck pressure washer, installing a heat and air conditioning unit in the manager's office building and in the pump house building, after both of those existing units failed. The 2024 pool finances, which we mentioned earlier last fall, we had revenues of 261,000 and change, had expenses of about 268,000 and change, so we lost about $7,500 in operating. And of course, you're aware that you've already set fees for next year to account for that. So hopefully we come in not in the red for the full season next year. The Centennial Park parking, this was the second full season, third season overall that we had, paid to park fees along with enforcement. We, our income was generated from hourly, daily, annual passes and violation, enforcement out there. And that brought us to $127,540 for 2024. That, those funds are used to help operate and maintain Centennial Park, as you're aware. Centennial Park Golf Course, the town, has contracted obviously with Centennial Park Golf Management LLC to manage the golf course for us. They will be here next month to make their full presentation as they normally do every February. But their initial numbers that they've shared with us was good. They actually had positive increases in golf rounds, green fees, cart fee rentals, range revenue, and their pro shop revenue. So that was a good thing for us. Even though that there are still some disappointments with people trying to understand the validation of parking their cars out there. And for, this last year, the lack of indoor washrooms was still, a normal complaint that they will share, I'm sure, with you. Moving on, our recreation programs and activities. Indoor recreation is still our biggest challenge. Always looking for ways to increase our programs at existing town-owned facilities or even partnering with local establishments or other organizations to find increased space. Youth Soccer League was again a good successful program for us, 934 players, 110 coaches, 12 referees. We had 68 teams across 4H divisions in the 2 seasons, the spring and fall season combined. The 2024 summer camp maxed out at 110 campers per week. That was 10 more than the year prior. We filled that up we were 95% full on day camp 3 hours after we opened it up. Wow. It's a highly demanded program and we expect that to continue, as the need is there for it. We had over 150 students participate in tennis lessons last year. We rekindled relationships with, partnerships with Susan School of Dance and also Patty's All-American in 2024 for additional programming, opportunities. We ran pint-sized camp with 60 enrolled. Those were, another one that's younger than the summer camp age group. So that's the younger kids there. Our 2024 teenager memberships were similar to 2023. We had 265 members. We had 5 special bingos with an average of 70 teenagers attending each one of those. Swim lessons are really big. Winter had 121, summer had 232 participants. The teenager holiday party had 76 total individuals join us. We were over at Cloister in the Woods this year, and the group really liked it, and we'll return there again next year, or this year. Our lunch shows for teenagers were definitely popular hits. We get about 130 participants to come out and enjoy the lunch shows. Dog park memberships, those are at 200, almost 250 dog park memberships, which is on board with just about every previous year. And our birding classes continue to grow. We had 35 participants in those throughout the year as well. Moving on to our special events, our daddy-daughter date night sold out before the early bird deadline passed. And it just continues to seemingly be super popular every year. We're doing registration now, and we've been sold out for a while and taking waiting lists. We had 201 father, dad, and daughter duos in 2024. And we also added an after dinner option so people can come in and just at least attend the games without the meal aspect as a way to try to meet the need for our waiting list. The second annual home improvement last year ran with 17 vendors. Cash Clutter, another popular event. We had both events. We had that twice during the year with 201 total vendors selling there. Community egg hunts, we had 160 participants. The Munster Car Show, 221 vehicles. People's Bank sponsored the Summer Concert Series again. We had a combined 2,000 attendance at those 5 concerts. The Civic Foundation donated $40,000 to fund the Centennial Park concerts, including the symphony as well as 10 Monday night concerts, to a combined attendance of over 2,000 people there. For the second year in a row, the Kids Fest got rescheduled due to extreme temperatures, but we still had a great turnout with about 1,200 in attendance. The 3 summer movies are always very well attended as well, with about 450 averaging attendance at each of those. The Pennsy Bike Ride continues to be a success. We partnered with Cherville on. We had over 120 participate in that event this year, or last year. The Region Eats Food Festival had 22 food vendors, and that was a really nice turnout for us out in July out at Centennial Park. Bark in the Park was another continuing event with 25 vendors, 4 food vendors, 6 sponsors, so that was nice to continue on with that event as well. We are looking to move that to May just to separate and create a little bit of distance between that event and the Humane Indiana's fundraiser that they have out in one of our parks as well. So that's something to be aware of in the future. The Beaker Woods Night Walk ran with almost 1,000 in attendance. The park staff worked cooperatively with the Munster Civic Foundation, Munster Chamber to run a successful Light the Night for about 1,000 people in attendance. The Holiday Arts and Crafts Fair had 125 vendors, 31 of which were new to us this year. And we already have 39 vendors submitted for next year, so for the 2025 show. And then, of course, we continue to support the Weed Wrangle at Heritage Park, the Independence Day Celebration Centennial, and the National Night Out, as well as the Monarch Fest over at Heritage Park, which are driven or partnered with many other individuals to help put those events on as well. And then on our social media and marketing, we try to put the word out in many different ways. Information we share through our recreation guides, the 3 recreation guides that we put out. We use the News You Can Use monthly utility bill newsletter. Those are our traditional ways. In the more recent years, we've tried to become a little more aggressive with our digital advertising on social media and direct emails. We have our Facebook, you may remember our Facebook page got hacked in November 2023. We restarted that page or started a new page in January of 2024. Unfortunately, we're not at the 10,000 plus followers that we had back when we got hacked and lost control. But our numbers were up to 1,500 so far after a year's worth of having the new page, so that's helpful for us. The summer grant and the new page is also tied into, makes it a lot easier to, when we do boost posts with Instagram, they are tied in together, so that has been helpful. It's just from a cost, a time management perspective, where we can preset posts and they get posted on both of those particular pages for us. We had 955 times where events shared off of our Facebook page. The Holiday Arts and Crafts Show had the most with 225 shares. The Active Network, which is our registration software that we use in the office, that's how we use our email list. That grew by 5.2% last year. We have up to 9,355 contacts. We also will use the Smart 911 rave message system that the town has. That has over 4,000 subscribers now, so that we don't use that a lot because people sign up for that more for emergencies, but we do use it for some of our larger events in town when those are occurring. Other marketing events that we have, we do try to get team up with local businesses, organizations for sponsorships and advertising. In 2024, we brought in over $71,000 from programs and event sponsors, the largest being Munster Civic Foundation that I mentioned. The advertising opportunities also brought in an additional $44,995. A lot of that goes into our brochure ads, but as well as many of our sponsors for some of our programs and special events. And I always like to highlight Bowman Displays locally has a good commitment. They actually give us a lot of our banners that you see throughout town advertising our events. They don't charge us for those. They do that as a community involvement from their perspective. So we're very thankful for that. And then leading into our goals for 2025, I highlighted a number of these there. It's kind of a framework of goals, but we want to replace the landfill gas to energy generator at Centennial Park. That is actually underway. The old one has been removed. The proceeding with the next steps to demolish the Centennial Park Clubhouse and the plan to redevelop that area. We want to fill our 2 new maintainer 2 and 4 positions from the maintenance division. Replace our playgrounds at Briar Creek and Cobblestones Park. Design, bid, and construct a new washroom and storage building out at Westlake Park. Bid and construct the Bridges Over Ditches project, which has been 20 plus years in the making to connect the pathway from Munster to Highland. That's the Fisher Street Trail, if you will, under through the NIPSCO corridor there. Repave the Fisher Street Bike Trail, that same trail. We want to repave it from Public Works down to where the Bridges Over Ditches project will be left off. We want to complete the 2024 bond issue vehicle replacement purchases, including getting a new golf cart fleet. The Determine the next steps for the current tennis courts at Cobblestones Park, which we'll talk about later today. Improve the Centennial Park shelter washrooms with new flooring and lighting. Explore opportunities to meet more recreational demand in the community by using the 2025 to 2029 master plan as a guide. And partner with the school town of Munster on new tennis courts over at Community Park. So that kind of highlights a year in review for us, and I would ask that you make a motion to officially approve it as our annual report and year in review plan. That's something then pending that, and then we share that with the town council, so they get a written report of what did we do in the last year. So
Any update? Was the playground equipment delivered?
it is delivered. We have it at Fisher Street. It's just once the weather breaks now, it'll be coming. Yeah, we actually had a pre-construction meeting out there already. Walked both sites. They're getting everything lined up, so they're ready as soon as the weather breaks.
Motion to approve Park and Recreation year in review annual report.
So moved.
All in favor?
Wait,
Second, sorry.
I motion to approve.
Okay, I'll second.
You can't do it anymore.
All
Okay, I will do that.
I'll do one of the, either one you want to choose.
All right.
All right, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Any opposed? Thank you, Mark. No.
it was good.
All right, next up is our pro shop, again, change order number 9.
Yes, this is one, I was hoping we were done with our change orders. There was 2 of them that they brought back to us. One was during the middle of construction, you had given me the authorization to make some changes. We had a conversation, there was a worry about drainage. So the first part of this was, changing the grades in between where the pro shop is now and the shelter area. In that area, we wanted to make sure there was pitch there. So there was some additional change order. They just forgot to, as we started to close this out, they realized they never submitted that change, to get that on the books. And then the second part of this was changing out duplex receptacles. That was something to GFI receptacles, inside the cart storage barn, because we have water in there where we can clean the carts. The town's inspector mandated that they change that, so that's an additional change there for that. So we are bringing this together with a recommendation to approve change order number 9 at a total cost, an add cost of $6,636.
We're almost at the finish line.
And we would be at the finish line until our year comes about. There's a few outstanding issues that they have to get completed, but we still are holding retainage back for them.
I'll make a motion to approve change order number 9.
I'll second.
Anyone opposed? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next up is portable restroom proposal recommendation.
So we put this out for quotes every couple of years. Jill was able to put this out in our office for us. The last few years, we've had Premier Porta Potty Company as our vendor, and we are gonna recommend them again for the next 3 years. They came in with the lowest price across the board on all the various services. So this is just when we have the need at each of our individual sites, this defines our cost for the next 3 years. So we're able to lock in at these figures and as we need them, be able to call upon them for the services that we use in the various parks and so forth. So we are recommending that we approve the portable restroom quote from Premier Porta Potty for 2025 through 2027.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to approve porta potty rental fees.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Then we have our fertilization.
Yeah, this is a similar one as well, slightly different. Last year, we put this out, for quotes, and we went with Forever Green Lawn Care. They actually submitted a letter to us saying they're willing to hold their price for the next 3 years at that same price. So again,
Yeah.
we think this is a good and worthwhile investment. It's nice to lock up those fees and just have that as a good, figure for us through our budget. So we are recommending seeking a motion to approve the, 2025 to 2027 fertilization proposal from Forever Green Lawn Care.
I'll go ahead and motion to approve the 2027 fertilization proposal.
We give the rookie the fertilization. Really complicated. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? No? Thank you. That sounds good. Lock in price.
So we have the next one is this, replacement golf cart purchase revision. So as I think you individually have told all of you that we had 10 golf carts stolen at the, Centennial Park Golf Course recently. We are going through an insurance claim, but in the meantime, the order has already been placed and we're not gonna have 10, we expect not to have, we're gonna have 10 fewer golf carts to trade in. There was only a trading value of $1,600 each, so it's an additional $16,000 that we need to bring to you, or what I'm bringing to you with this revised proposal. We originally had budgeted $300,000 for this. We're still within that original budget from the 2024 GO bond. So asking for your approval of this revised purchase cost of $287,640 for the new golf cart fleet.
Mark, again, who was the other two golf courses that were hit by this?
Actually, there was a number of them. Turkey Creek got hit twice in Maryville, Duck Creek and Hobart got hit, Cardinal Creek and Beecher got hit, River Oaks and Calumet City, and Joe Louis and Riverdale. All of them, Yamaha golf carts.
Really?
Anything you can share in public that, as far as,
The police is still investigating. I mean, anything, we expect, this happened sometime between December 30th and middle of about 3 o'clock on New Year's Day is when we discovered our garage door open out at the park. So sometime between that and then we had 10 golf cars. driven away from our
license plate
facility.
readers?
License plate readers, so far, nothing has been discovered on that. We did get the license plate camera from Asta Parking. We shared that with the police department who's investigating it. And, so far, nothing has been discovered that way.
Nothing from the other communities either.
And, nothing yet. He has a couple leads in talking to the other communities. They think there's some similarities obviously there. There was somebody caught at the Riverdale one, but they are having trouble to pinpoint that same people that even here because we're out video or something like that. So, gotcha.
And are we looking to get cameras?
That is on our revised agenda. That is at the last
That's
item of today's agenda that just got sent to us this morning. So we will talk about that shortly.
So you're gonna wanna approve the new total under F for the replacement golf cart purchase revision. So I'll make that motion. Or was it 16,000? Close my.
Yeah. So the new total is $287,640.
So the additional cost is basically because of the no trade.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
We don't have any trades. All right, so I made that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Mark. Next is the cobblestone pickleball design.
So we've heard from some of the public that's here about this already, and this is more of a discussion, but just wanting to seek your input before further design is contemplated. We had SCH go out there, the town's engineer, and look at this with us on the existing footprint out at the park. We can fit, we could fit 6 courts there. The worry that we had as staff as we reviewed it was parking. When the park is busy with a new playground, with the football use, with baseball use, with, all the various uses throughout the year, the challenge is that. I think having Mike on the board before, who also lives in subdivision, always talking about parking out there always comes into my mind. So, I just wanted to bring it up to you and I'm glad to hear some of the positive feedback. I think in the perfect world, yeah, we want all 6 courts. The worry is pickleball is super popular, and I think where you're seeing these courts in multiple places, they're being used.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be used like everything else, evening hours, after, after school hours, that it's gonna be a popular time. I will point out, these are, the plan is to lay these out north-south, that, laying them out east-west is not the preferred layout for courts, so that does fit them though that way. I think the challenge does come to be is there any place, can we add additional parking? we're limited there. I think, you know, the diagonal parking that we have right along the park, on the edge of the park there, kind of right at the playground. And Roland may know this, I believe that that's typically not allowed in our town, that type of style of parking, diagonal parking. We're fortunate that a few of our parks have it. Grove is another one that has it kind of diagonal there, but could that be expanded? Maybe. That obviously adds cost to the overall project and the scope of what we want to do, but bringing it to you to get your input as far as what you'd see us or what you'd like to see us proceed as far as we try to work around and make this a reality in the next year or so.
I would defer to the neighborhood association. They have to live with it. So, I mean, I'm assuming Roland's gonna be around and see what you guys can come up with as far as a plan that would work for everybody. I mean, I could talk to Frank Hammond. I'm sure Councilman Gardner would talk to Frank Hammond, but I don't have to live with parking. And I know it's popular because Frank Hammond's full of people playing pickleball, so. So that's my only recommendation or thought.
I agree with
I
that.
agree.
Is there any type of parking experts that could evaluate that space to give us some other ideas?
I think what we'll do is I'll ask SEH, I mean, as an engineer to look and say, hey, what can you do for options? What can we do to add another, I don't know how many spots is right. I mean, you know, in the peak time during football, during any of the heavier uses, we're always gonna have those busy times, right? I mean, and you may have cars parked down the streets. And I think it's just important that, you know, we always want to be good neighbors and not, you know, forcing people and blocking people's driveways or taking over their park, you know, football's there or whoever, not the target football specifically, but you know, whoever's there in the park and they're parking on the street, you get home from work and that's where you usually park your car and now, you know, it's just those types of struggles. And we obviously want to have that good relationship there. We want to, I think, continue the perimeter walking track path. We heard in our master plan processes that walking and pathways is the number one desired thing. So we definitely want to keep that. Could that be rerouted in some way? Maybe, and eat up a little bit of the park for some additional parking possibly. On the flip side, we also go back to remembering football, who's saying we need more space. That's something that's on our radar as well. So trying to find a balance. But I think hearing what, you know, some of the neighbors have said, I think gives me enough information that I can take this to work with SEH and try to, you know, bring about maybe another larger revision, looking at the whole park besides the courts. You know, if we can get 6 courts, so it sounds like that's what we want to do. It would be a matter of trying to find some additional space for parking out there as well.
The challenge that I see is twofold. One, Pop Warner football has always been kind of an issue because of the number of kids that are brought and driven to practice. With that being said, though, it's a relatively short season. You're never going to get enough parking for a Pop Warner football practice that happens 2 hours a day within, you know, 2.5 months. So that's the challenge there when it comes to Pop Warner football and parking for that. You're never going to have enough parking for that sport. I think there's always a continual look within the park department to see if there's a better location for Pop Warner football, because that's really where the issue comes into. The other thing about adding parking in this location, people are just a tendency, they don't want to walk very far. So, you know, the only place that really parking is going to work, if you look at parking in this spot, is right near the pickleball courts. And that's where Mark's talking about the walking path. So I think there's the earlier suggestion about parking on one side of the road and not having it on the other side of the road is a potentially could be a good temporary solution. But I do think the overall solution is really looking at Pop Warner again and just seeing if there's, you know, continually look, and because for every 5 or 10 years, there's a better spot then. And now it's been over there. Pop Warner's been there for 5, 6 years, somewhere in that area. And again, it's just and then lacrosse happens in the spring. Lacrosse is a little different animal because it's more high school kids. But again, you have a lot of high school kids that are freshmen, sophomore that still get driven. And then when you get to be a junior and senior, you only want to drive yourself. You don't want to drive anybody else because you're too cool to, you want to drive the car. So, but again, those are relatively short seasons and I would hate to see a lot of park space taken up by parking. Just for those, couple times a year.
Well, the one thing I could probably speak to about from the school board perspective is that the new field that they are updating the baseball field right now. And it's supposed to be completed by March, April, if they hope, by the start of the baseball season. But that will also be able to be used by Pop Warner. The field will be striped for football and lacrosse. However, baseball, same season as lacrosse. I don't think it'll alleviate much there, but it should help in the fall with football. I'm not sure how the field usage will be scheduled at this time because soccer will continue to use the football field at the high school, the main football field, for their games. So I do believe that that will allow some usage for Pop Warner to use that field during that time period. So, and they will have parking over there as well. On 35th, there will be a parking lot there. So I, again, can't speak to how the field will be scheduled for Pop Warner, but I do know it will be striped for football.
Thanks. And again, the more that the school can, with the
Help.
turf fields, that helps.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, well, I will take that and come back and bring updated ideas to you in the future.
Finally, we have the surveillance system golf.
Yes, and I apologize because I got this just this afternoon and we wanted to share this with you right away after the theft that we had out there. I was able to verify through the clerk's office that we could use the settlement funds like that we're using to build the new golf buildings towards this. And it's above the authorization level that I have, and I didn't think we wanted to wait another month. So but this is the same company, it's a local company, they're right over here next to Strax on Ridge Road. This is the same company that put in our surveillance cameras at the pool and at the maintenance facility at Centennial Park, where we have a lot of equipment too. So we wanted to be able to use the same, the compatibility of these systems was something that was important. So that's why we only solicited from this one vendor, but we wanted to make sure to have that to tie it into our existing software that we're able to view that and that the police department also has access to as well. So this actually will add between the two buildings, 32 total cameras out there. And it'll be inside and outside the building. And some of them are just kind of pointing away from the building to see things out in the park, which is something that the police department has asked us to consider when any of these opportunities come about. So we bring this to you with a recommendation to approve. This is a total cost of $24,990 for those supplying of all the equipment and the installation of this out at the two facilities.
How soon can they get them up?
I don't have that yet, but he
Don't
said
worry about it.
once we give them the go ahead, they will place the order. They did say they would require a down payment. They just need a PO and they'll get going on it.
Make a motion to approve the purchase of the canopy for $24,990.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll go get going sooner rather than later. Yeah.
You out there.
Okay, at this time, we are ready to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, just have a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We'll see everybody again on February 18th. Thank you much.
For that.